Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem Aljume, just a question asker. But we have some great and some very important people that's going to be with us today. We have an amazing topic. This topic, I'm very curious to find out where this topic is going to take us today, where we're going to end up with this particular topic. I think we have someone coming in with us. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's knocking at the door. Who is that knocking at the door? Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
It's Captain Leonard. This my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. Captain Leonard, we got some stuff going on today, brother. We got
Do you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got some stuff going on today. On this day here, we got some things going on. What is this? July the 11th,
Yes.
Monday, July the 11th, and we got some things going on. But before we get into the things that's going on, brother, how was your weekend?
Weekend was just fine. Just fine.
What you do with yourself, man?
As least as possible.
And you did it well.
We had a lot of storms this weekend,
Yeah, it was.
off and on, and yeah, I love that type of weather.
Mm,
So it
that's
was a
that's
good
that's
reason to stay in.
that's that good sleeping weather too, bro. You look here, you cuddle up that pillow real tight, and boy, before you know it, boy, you having a snore fest. That's a such thing, ain't a snore fest,
I guess.
man.
I'm
I,
asleep, so I
yeah,
don't know.
I think that's a thing. It's called a snore fest. It's a Captain, where your video at?
It's not working today.
Oh, okay. It ain't working
You know,
all day.
sometimes this particular platform sometimes can be a little messy,
Oh,
but I'm moving around more today.
oh, okay. Got you. Now, before we get started, man, I like to catch up on the activities going on in and around the political arena, man, and that's your expertise. So, educate us, brother.
A lot of things are going on. I think it's really interesting for people if they're interested. I believe the next committee hearing may be scheduled for tomorrow, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But man,
Come
people
on.
are coming out the woodwork
Mm-hmm.
because some
Mm-hmm.
people really need to go to jail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now everybody volunteering, I think, to share information
Mm-hmm.
about things they know they shouldn't have been a part of in the first place. The simple evidence of someone asking for pardons
Mm-hmm.
prior to certain things
Mm-hmm.
is an admission of guilt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what you did was wrong. So it's
Mm-hmm.
good to see how that works out. We still have the Department of Justice that has to finally, I'm sure after the hearings, and I hear of work that they're doing as far as investigating, raiding the homes, certain homes, seizing computers and subpoenas and all these different types of things are going on because the Department of Justice is definitely preparing their case.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you have Stan. What's the guy crazy? Bannon is even I think trying to cooperate
Mm.
now, trying to make some type of deal. Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
also on another note, we have to look at the various things that the current administration is doing as well to balance America again
Mm-hmm.
and our reputation. Of course, we see. I think some people have noticed gas prices go down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I
Yes.
hope people have paid attention to how that works. So going forward, people won't be blaming the president on the gas price.
Mm-hmm. And they do.
Right. And when people talk about, inflation, inflation, inflation. Well, inflation happens because suppliers want to charge more.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't have to be inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation occurs because the producers want more profits.
And it has nothing to do with the president.
It has nothing to do with the president. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what people can do to fight inflation is start to limit consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Let them people let a lot of this stuff start sitting on shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Stop buying as many cars
Yeah.
and all these types of things. Be a little bit more conservative in your lifestyle, and then you'll notice prices will decline
Mm-hmm.
once you become more conservative.
Man, look at that. That thing didn't do that, man. It cost half what it cost last year.
Because
Look at
people
that.
have noticed.
Yeah.
Even if they're
Yeah.
in the grocery stores, things are almost $2 higher than they used to be,
Mm-hmm.
especially those products that people are trying to purchase more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you notice those prices start to go up first on popular items in the grocery store. Pretty much those things directly at eye level, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh,
brand new.
yeah.
You know how they, the marketing campaigns and things like that. So that's one thing you can be aware of and how to sort of fight back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we have to fight back because if
You
not,
got
man,
to.
they're gonna do whatever they want to do to us when they want to do it, how they want to do it, and it's many times as they want many times as they want to do it. That's just what it is. That's
Shout out to our listener, Public Citizen
yes. Mm-hmm.
and Badger,
Mm-hmm.
for inviting some of the morning crew to one of their shows.
Exactly. Exactly. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed that. Like I said, some people have called me and say, Raheem, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you voice? It ain't about. Sometimes it's just best to just sit back and just listen.
Yes,
Sometimes,
especially
go
if
ahead.
you, like you said, you were just sitting back listening.
Mm-hmm.
You're used to being a moderator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You wasn't at work.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, and I tell people, because I tell them all the time, they say, well, sometimes, right, yeah, I sit there and I sit there and I sit there and it's not intentional. Sometimes, I just in the rotation because we have a lot of people on here from time to time. I miss somebody. I miss somebody.
Right.
And I tell them, I say, look at, just sometimes just listen. Just listen to the conversation. I make my way back around to you. Eventually, I make my way back around to you. But I sit there and Leonard, I sit there for over 40 something minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I just listen to the whole conversation. I just listen, and people ask me to say, well, why did you say anything? I say it's not sometimes just absorb.
Right.
Sometimes just absorb, take it out, eat the meat, and spit out the bone.
There you go.
There's a lot of things that went on in that conversation. There's a lot of things that happen in that conversation. Some I agree with, some I don't. But at the same time, I was able to just sit there like I ain't gonna say like no roach or no flies, like that. But I was just a invisible observer. Mhm.
That's why we need, and you definitely had people there that were very much moving forward.
Exactly.
We're gonna do the work. We're
Hmm.
called to do the work, and it's just good to be able to share with those folks because of the folks that listen to this show
Hmm.
who are
Wow.
trying to do things
Hmm.
on their side of the fence.
Leonard, are we making a difference?
Yes, we always make a difference.
Hmm.
We always make a
Yeah.
difference because if you think about it, there's always somebody that has a difference of opinion.
Hmm.
And remember, we were talking to one person. I'm a Trump supporter. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
Now tell me, what about him
Hmm.
you support?
Exactly.
It's
Uh,
holding people's feet to the fire and making sure that people have a place where they can bounce how they feel about things against other people,
hmm.
and
Hmm.
not stay in these narrow hallways and secret rooms
Yep.
whispering back and forth about
Hmm.
what you wish or what you're
Talking.
scared of.
How they say talking loud about nothing.
Right, right.
Hmm.
So I think that a lot of people some of the people on the call were surprised that we were so friendly.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't come to fight about anything.
Hmm. It
We
wasn't
just
about that.
No, it was nothing at all about that.
Hmm.
Even in the face of hostility, you have to be able to take control of the situation.
Exactly. Exactly. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. I just want to say thank you to the intelligent designer for giving me another day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we and I tell people all the time that's a blessing, and
Yeah,
that's a beautiful that's a building block. He gave you a building block, and
yeah,
from that building, yeah.
I said that's more important, you know what I'm saying? The way this weekend done went, man, you know what I'm saying? I need to give more thanks for myself than welcoming other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I need to be welcoming myself, you know what I'm saying, to the fact that I got an extra day. So yeah, it's changing up again.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Life is forever changing, brother. Like, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it all. It's always changing, man. Time, situation, circumstances, all those things change. But it's important that we make the proper adjustments that we need to make. in order to move forward and do the things that we need to do. That's the most important thing, man. We have to make sure that we make the necessary adjustments. And I know what you said, and nothing against what you said, but my thing, we don't sometimes we don't understand. So and this is amazing. I wasn't planning on going here this morning, but sometimes we don't understand the impact that we have to other people and their lives as well. We sometimes take that for granted, because wow, wow, wow. I was talking to no, I was talking to a friend. I'm not gonna call her name. I was talking to a friend, and she was talking to me about her husband. She said her husband don't appreciate her and all the stuff that she do and all the sacrifices that she make and stuff like that. And I asked her, I said, why do you think he don't appreciate you? Why do you think? Because we fall into that sometimes. We don't think people appreciate the stuff that we do and how we do it, and the sacrifices that we make from time to time. I said, why do you think he don't appreciate me? Then she gave me a list of stuff. She listed up. I said, well, does he do this? And I'm trying to say this in a way where I'm not putting their business out there. Does he do this? Does he do that? And at the end of the conversation, by the time we got to the end of that conversation, we got some others on the phone line too. By the time we got to the end of that conversation, she had a different perspective because she understood how much she impacted his life. And the things that she did or that she did not do will be a direct impact on his everyday existence. Do we always take advantage? Do we always take notice of that, Rico?
Uh, no, man. I mean, to be honest with you, man, we take a lot of things for granted.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just
Yes.
waking up every day, take that for granted.
Mm-hmm.
About I guess about 11 months ago, I was telling you about my best friend that they had found dead on the job.
Yeah.
And he finally pulled through, and he's not really completely back. And I sort of felt like why he wasn't completely his old self anymore, and it's because he looks at life differently now.
Mm-hmm.
It's still hard for him to believe that he was dead for 20 minutes and that he's lucky to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So every day that he wake up, I know he looking like, man,
Wow.
I ain't supposed to
Wow.
be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I finally heard it out of his mouth yesterday. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? I was like, okay, I knew that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? He's still trying to deal with this concept of that he just woke up and didn't realize what happened, or that he had been through such a terrible incident. Because after they brought him back alive, they still had to induce him and put him in a coma. So he was out for like 3 weeks. So he woke up and didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, man, it's crazy, man, because his stepfather and his mother was living with him. And they had to have his back when he came back from the hospital, like in October.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in the last 3 months, he had to bury his stepdad, and then he
Wow.
found his mom dead yesterday.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And he found her. You know what I'm saying? And see, I know the relationship they had.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we could take this thing for granted, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like I said, that's the reason why I said, it's a lot of times I find myself always trying to be there for other people and welcoming other people to a brand new day and this and that. But you said, I thought about it. I've extended myself a lot in my life trying to be there for other people, and took for granted that I was going to be here the next day to look out for myself, and it wasn't no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time for me to show and prove a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, I do look out for myself, but now it's more of, I'm going to say, less concern for other people and more appreciation and graciousness and humility for the grace of being here again another day. I mean, I know this, but it's another thing to understand and realize that you can't take this existence and this experience for granted.
And you know what? And like I said, we do have another caller. Oh no, I don't want to get to that caller, but I'm gonna tell you this right here, Rico. And I hope I'm not overstepping myself when I say this. You saying that you're gonna look out for yourself, you're gonna do more things for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing at all wrong with that. But God has a way. God has a way of, as you're trying to pour more things into yourself, of having you pour even more out to other people. He has a way of you say, I'm gonna focus more on me, and that's good. That's a good thing, because you should focus on yourself as well. Like I say, some people say it's this, some people say it's that. Ain't got nothing to do with what they say. My thing is this right here. While you're doing those things, Don't be surprised if along that course, God have you doing even more things for more people in the process of doing more things for yourself. God has a way of flipping things, man. You know, people say all the time, you know, God don't have no sense of humor. I think he does. I think he have a huge sense of humor. I think we have Brother Hicks. Brother Hicks, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. Good. Pray everybody's doing well.
Hey, doing well.
Fine, thank you.
Tell me, how was your weekend, brother?
Uh, it was a good weekend. I accomplished a lot of things. I got a lot of projects I've been working on, but I don't have real good typing skill. But I got my son who's man can type like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been able to accomplish some things on that. So it's been a good weekend.
Good deal. Now, we got a real busy week ahead of us.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Like I sort of explained in one of the talks that I recently got married. I was married for a year and then ended up leaving. So now I'm in the process of divorce and putting everything, balance, counteracting her claims and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're talking about appreciation now.
Yes.
You know, this has been a rough year with this and other family issues, which was a sort of a problem with her paying attention to my you got kids and you're married 30 years, you meet somebody new, you think you know them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you get close to them. But I think I had to work real hard on my spiritual thing, is not to get resentful and to try to look at positive aspects even of her in her confusion, because I talk a lot. And I got a sort of therapeutic background. I worked as a therapist for a lot of years, reading all that stuff. So I was been trying to work with feeling appreciation, finding things to be appreciative about the situation and what I've learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think appreciation is the beginning of my day.
There you
And
go.
I really learned that from my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
getting up early in the morning and picking the eggs out of the chicken coop and feeding the hogs and all that whole process. And I watched how she appreciated everything. She talked to the chickens, she talked to them cows, and talked about what kind of glorious day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when I can take, it's a focus now because I've been selfish most of my life. I've been out there on the edge, and most of my decisions was built on principles. So they often through my family and hardship, and through myself too, even the hardship.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's because I was doing those things, looking at all the flaws, all the things that could be done better, all the things that wasn't right. But in my later years, I've learned to sift through my experience, what's presented to me every day, and try to look for the good in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta love. Bottom line,
There's
you
always
gotta love.
a golden layer, huh?
Always,
Mm-hmm. There's
always.
always that golden layer. We got quite a few people that just joined us. I'm going to touch each and every one of you.
Yes, sir.
Let me go
Yes,
to
sir.
Badger. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
We talking right now about appreciation, Badger. How do you feel about appreciation?
Appreciation. What's the
Being happy and
definition you're
thank
using?
being happy. Well, appreciation, being happy and thankful for appreciating the things that you have in life.
Huh. Mm, That's
Well,
interesting. Um, so the gift of every moment we experience, from our past, from right now, and those that are coming,
mm-hmm.
are, in my opinion, a lot of the things that show us what appreciation can be or
Mm-hmm.
not be. Um, I worked really hard at being thankful for every moment that I'm granted and for the ones that I've already had because they teach in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to me, being aware of acceptance is also learning that even in the most darkest times, there's a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was a choice made that led to that. And that's the part to be thankful for is the tools to be able to look at it so it doesn't get repeated.
That's good. So it don't get repeated. That's good. Minister Neil, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Ricky.
I'm coming, but I was trying to take off. I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Everybody doing
How you doing this morning?
this morning. I'm good, brother. I'm good, brother.
Good deal. Let's talk.
Very good, man.
Let's talk about appreciation. And sometimes how do we appreciate? Do we have sometimes a lack of appreciation? Let's talk about appreciation, Minister.
So you said like I don't appreciate.
Yeah. Let's talk about, do we have appreciation? Do we always appreciate, or do sometimes do we have a lack of appreciation?
It depends on the individual. I'm brother not say that to you because I was, yesterday with our mama's 75th birthday yesterday. And I was talking to Kenny about some things, and just the knowing that I sometimes I think appreciation is just really thankful. And I was sitting there telling myself, man, I thank God that I said, this is the first time I wasn't able to call her and say happy birthday, but I said, I thank God that knowing I can sit here together and talk to each other and really is one. So, and I told him, I said, I'm coming, and like I said, I'm gonna go now. I'm on my way down there now. But it was just a thing of thankfulness. I'm gonna say that we had. This is not a word, but I'm just saying. I was thinking about. I mean, I know a lot of people say, "Hey, I appreciate you." Sometimes that they really do mean it. But when you say thank you, that's them, and goes a little further. I thank God for it. We said all the time, I thank God for Jesus. Because I think the conversations we had, I can't appreciate God. You gotta thank Him.
Yes,
You
sir.
get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So when you at a certain time and a certain level in your life, and don't get me wrong, appreciation is dynamite. When you tell somebody, man, I thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for being my friend. I thank you for understanding where I'm coming from. Those things start coming into play. It's a different element.
Yes, sir.
I truly believe that appreciation is wonderful. And, because, you hear people say, give me appreciation, I love appreciation, offering and things of that nature. They put appreciation on, but when you say thank you, that goes along. That goes no further than that. And I was thinking about that this morning when text came in and sent me a scripture, and I told myself that, just know that, just thank God that you had her as your mom. We could have picked anybody to be your mom, but that one, we picked that one. So, sometimes we got to look back and thank him for man. I didn't deserve it.
Absolutely.
I didn't deserve none of this.
That's good. That's good. And see, that's the thing. A lot of times we get gifts, we get things that we don't deserve. We didn't do anything to earn it. It's just because He loved us just that much. He gave it to us, and he make sure that we understand, and hopefully sometime we understand and appreciate what it is that He's done. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking right now about appreciation, Curtis. Do we always appreciate everything that we have given to us, or do we sometimes have a lack of appreciation, or even acknowledgement that something good has been done to us or for us?
Nah, that's not a human behavior. The way the world is working right now, you don't appreciate nothing. You get and you move on to the next. It's bad to say it, but it's true. In my opinion, we have a serious lack of appreciation. We have a greater what's the word I'm looking for? We have a greater sense of entitlement than appreciation. in my opinion, when you have a sense of entitlement, you know, appreciation is not even supposed, you know, the idea of appreciating the fact that you got something. Like, why am I supposed to?
Hey, you're breaking up on us, Curtis.
I said, you know, I think the lack of appreciation is due to the sense of entitlement.
Mm.
You understand? So, you know, when you look at the two words, appreciation and entitlement, you can almost look at them in today's, in the modern world of today, they almost could mean opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way that we go about carrying out the characteristics of the two words. You know what I'm saying? The defining of the two words. You know, we have witnessed lack of appreciation from the ground all the way to the top of the pyramid. Like, nah, it's this world we in right now. There's a greater sense of entitlement than appreciation.
Mm-hmm. And Leonard, how do those two words intertwine, if all, entitlement or appreciation?
Well, it's great. They're extremely different. Entitled is something you believe that you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, you believe that it is yours. Appreciation is what other people have been mentioning. It's when you're thankful. I mean, Minister Neil, good morning. He hit it dead on the head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I practice thankfulness. I'm thankful for everything. Every piece of food I put in my mouth, every step that I take has a lot to do with mindfulness. That this breath is not promised.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a certain relationship that you have with God when it comes to thankfulness that's different than with others.
Mm-hmm.
As Minister Neil was pointing out, I appreciate every single thing a person does for me. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew even as a little boy, no one owes me anything. I never had this expected that I was entitled to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because when death and destruction is all around, why should you be spared?
Mm.
So something is working in your favor. How many trips have you made to the cemetery? How many times have you had to been on the operating table?
Mm.
How many times have you not known where your next meal was coming from? So when you do realize that is when you start to look at life a little differently. When you stop thinking that things revolve around you.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like people used to say, trust me, you love your job more than it loves you. I guarantee you. Because they'll replace you in a heartbeat.
Yep.
So put that energy somewhere else. To someone that needs it. Give it back to your families. Give it back to the joy. Like I say, a lot of us who are in organizations and things like that, especially social organizations that reach out and help people, feed people, clothe people. You do that because you're so thankful that you can do those things.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not worried about a roof over your head. You're not worried about food to eat or how the bills are going to be paid.
Yeah.
Some people are. Some people are. And you know when the older you get that you don't deserve nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that which you work for. Think about that concept. Most people think they deserve what somebody else got. How? When you didn't do the work.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, so that whole thing about appreciation. I'm going to appreciate my wife this morning. I know I am. You know why? Because I know what she's going to do. The minute the tea comes, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just thank the people that you live with every day? Even with my children. Please and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
for every little thing. So they understand this concept too. Be thankful. Appreciate people that do things for you. Those are your friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
not,
It's good.
yeah, you know, so it helps to build relationships on thankfulness.
Mm-hmm. That's
I'm
good.
glad you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I appreciate you calling me every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature. You checked on me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Those things show appreciation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Toussaint, we're talking about the differences between appreciation and entitlement. Where lies the difference? And good morning. How you doing this morning?
We all right. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What are you entitled to? Tell me.
That's a heck of a question. Some people think everything.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think
So you come here naked, you're gonna leave naked.
Mm-hmm.
So how you entitled to anything?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Now what was the other part? Entitled to and what?
Appreciation.
Oh, that I guess depends on whether you focus on the source or the resource. When you was talking, I was looking at something, and it says every good. I think it says something like every good and perfect thing comes from above,
Mm-hmm.
comes from God. Every good and perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
James started talking about how we want stuff. We willing. He don't say it like that, but we're willing to do anything for it, even if it's not ours. Lust, greed,
claiming somebody else's
manipulation, schemes, plots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying. But if we want something good, we got to realize where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So when I whatever I have, I learn to appreciate it because I know who the giver is.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Because he owns everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
his.
Absolutely.
And we loan stuff. You don't own your children. That's why that's why children don't appreciate their parents or vice versa. Because they think that's theirs, but it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I live on because of him. You think I got children because I can't say that like that. I had to back out of that.
You about to go somewhere.
I like how he hit them brakes.
Yes, sir. He about to go somewhere. Yeah. He about to go
I hit him quick, Leonard. I had to.
Mm-hmm. Look, it shows that he's thinking.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, it shows that he's thinking. Okay. There's so many different layers on this thing. Toussaint, did you finish your thought, brother? I don't want to move on without not giving you the opportunity to finish your thought.
No, man. Go ahead, y'all. We doing good. Go ahead. I'm done.
Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, man. I think it's really and truly. I think it's really a hard conversation to have sometimes because at the same time, people do have to understand that there are times they are supposed to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's what leads to divorce sometimes because somebody feels like they aren't appreciated. Or maybe they're taking somebody for granted. You was talking about the discussion you had with the woman. And it seems like after a while, she started realizing, well, there may be some things I should be appreciative of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, at first, she was feeling like she wasn't being appreciated. And then you had, you sort of gave her a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you do have to draw the line on, I'm going to say, how much you show other people your appreciation and then how much you overlook people not appreciating you. You see, there's a such thing as somebody appreciating you. Then there's another thing where somebody takes you for granted. Then you have to be able to understand when people are using you. Mm-hmm. So they only appreciate you when they need you because really and truly they don't have anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And when those people come around, you will think they really appreciate me. Mm-hmm. But then you understand that sometimes they show by other actions how they really appreciate you. So you have to read them between the lines and then say to yourself, okay, am I going to give them the same amount of energy that they give me?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to give them more? Am I going to continue to be there for them when they do call? Because at one point in time, sooner or later, it turns into being opportunistic or using people. So you really don't appreciate them, but you just need them to get this done. But I don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, wait a minute. Now I need somebody to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me hit Rico in his DMs. You know what Rico do? Man, he must be arguing with somebody he like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't got time for you. Because you can tell the difference when somebody really appreciates you or when they just using you for their best advantage or for their benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, I switched it around a little bit because we can show our appreciation sometimes to people that really and truly don't want or really care anything for us.
Mm-hmm.
We can give our time and energy. We can actually make an effort to support people sometimes that don't really appreciate and support us the same way. So you still have to understand that part of it too. You know, I appreciate this experience more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate my parents for giving me life. You know, but as I was thinking about what happened with my homeboy and his stepfather and his mother these last 3 months, I was like, man, you know, quite a few of my people that I hang with, I've spent more time with their parents and with them than I have with my own parents.
Mm-hmm.
Not through lack of effort on my part. Remember, I've been on my own since 11 years old. But then at the same time, I found myself trying to always respect that appreciation for my parents by reaching out and trying to force a relationship that for some reason, I'm still stuck on just being the left out one since I was young. You get what I'm saying? No matter what I do, my siblings got the relationship with our parents that they're supposed to have. But I never got that.
Wow.
I mean, I was discovered a long time ago. So it really dawned on me that, you know what, man, you're going to really have to stop making so much of an effort. Even though you appreciate the fact that they brought you into this world, you got to think more about yourself. Because you can't kick and beat a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they don't appreciate me as much, or maybe, you know, they had me for the wrong reasons. I don't even, you know, have to go into that part of it. But as the person that is feeling like they're unappreciated, they have to sooner or later realize that, you know what, I have to draw the line on the appreciation that I show. Like for me, what I had to do, I finally had to just say, well, you know what, quit calling them so much. They don't call you as much. Because you still realize, dang, they don't appreciate or care for me the same as I care for them. And that goes for friends, family, and all that. You know, I got a friend that had a situation going on, and she made a post, and I think I sort of know what it's referring to. It says, "Not invited equals don't go. Not told equals don't ask. Late invite equals decline." And I think I know what that comes from because she has some cousins that she's close with, that she treats them like their sisters. But if you notice how she act, it seems like it's more one-sided. And one of those cousins got married, and I don't think she got invited to that wedding.
Wow.
So now it's a realization that, you know what, they don't appreciate me as much as I appreciate them. So now I know from now on, if they don't even invite me, don't even ask about it. It ain't my business. Screw it. I ain't have nothing to do with it.
Good deal. Yeah, that's true. Let's go to wow, it's a lot, and I didn't intend to stay with this as long as I did, man. But it's so much tied into this thing, man. We're gonna get to our topic at the top of the hour, but right now let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about appreciation over appreciation or entitlement. Where lies the difference?
Well, yeah, with I think today with a lot of especially younger people, they feel an entitlement. I don't know why they have that mentality, but many of them feel like they're entitled, you know, to have stuff that we work for. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they don't appreciate a lot of the stuff that the people do for them. They really don't. It's like, you're supposed to do this. And that really bothers me, because it's not life. It's not a reality. You're not entitled to really anything. But if people do it for you, you should be appreciative. And that's like a lost thing in with this generation. To me, it's like a lost thing.
Exactly. Minister Neil, what's on your heart? Ricky, you there?
Hello? Yeah, I mean, I'm driving, so you have to pick the phone up. I'm sorry. I was listening, and I'm just listening right now because I was reflecting about some things, and you're so right. The generation right now, they're feeling like there's a lot of entitlement, but at the same token, I think that comes with the notion of love. And when you love someone, it's something that I heard Leonard say that kind of struck, and heard Rico kind of allude to it as well. That appreciation comes with a lot of love as well. So we have to also look at that as well and understand it's not that people don't. I'm not gonna say these kids don't love their parents, but I think that they're taking the parents for granted, and I think that's a lot that goes on, just like it is with children. Some people take their children for granted. You think about what the Bible tells us that a child is a gift from God. That's written. And when it's written, that's what the word says. But I think what happens a lot of times is that we get caught up in our own self. And I don't think that we realize the damage and the carnage that we have left behind from our toxic behaviors and mind state. So we start talking about entitlement and things of that nature. Sometimes it becomes very toxic because you can look at it and you can see how it is right here in America, how it is, how police officers stop black folks and how they stop white folks, how they talk to us and how we talk to them. You get what I'm saying? So it can be done.
Absolutely.
Hey, but I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm gonna take this call. My brother calling. Okay.
Okay, good deal. All right, call me back. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I was thinking about all the things that, the transition I went through of learning what acceptance is. And there is a lot of young people that feel like they're entitled and stuff, but I've also met just as many that appreciate. So it's interesting to understand the different perspectives of how the thoughts process works between the two. We've even seen adults that don't appreciate everything, and they feel entitled and stuff like that. Sometimes it's on one or two topics, and then the rest of it, is just appreciation kind of thing. So I do think there are times where that entitlement comes out, and I don't think they realize it. But they'll teach their kids or mention it to younger people and implant that thought. I do think that teaching a person to be thankful for every moment, be it bad or not, and learning to do critical thinking and why was that moment so good? Everything from a flat tire to getting shot or whatever. There's there's always something to say to have an experience that that is shared with another human being, and it's amazing once that's found out that you also went through an experience like that, and it's something that you share as a commonality, or something that you share in common. The amount of conversations that can be started just by that alone is one of the biggest driving factors of why I'm so appreciative of everything.
Exactly. Let's go to Brother Hicks. Brother Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Yeah. I was thinking about my life, and it seems to me that with me, that the longer I live, the more I learn to appreciate. I think appreciation is the lesson you learn through loss. And I was listening, I was calling my brother. It was only two of us, and we were close when we were young. But as we got older, there's a distance between us. He get caught up in drugs and all that stuff, and all the things you do to the family with that. And most times we were at odds. But when I was in this hospital room and he was on that bed, and we were talking now with the honesty that I wish, it's like I wish that I had done before. And the appreciation came that once you look at that body and you go through the process and you put him in the ground, and in your head, in my head, I started looking at all the things, little things when we were little that I appreciated, and the hole that was in my life, not because he wasn't here. I'm 73, so I've learned to be appreciative, but I've lost my mother, my father, brother, and a whole lot of friends going through that process. I've understand that everybody's like a light bulb. We got this time limit on us. Everybody you see, everybody you pass, and the light is going to go out one day. So thinking that way make me appreciate them, even in spite of all the other things, the flaws, the lies they may tell, or their intentions. But appreciation comes from the loss.
Yes.
And it's you don't miss your water till you well run dry.
Absolutely.
So these later years of my life, I'm very appreciative of all the life around me.
Wow. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? Toussaint, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and
You said wake up and go to sleep. I knew it was coming. Sometimes we have a problem with these mute buttons.
Oh, okay.
No, man, I still stick to what I'm saying. Not much. I think that sometimes we cater to negativity, and it gets worse because we focus on it. We don't try to make things better. We complain about what's wrong, and we continue. That's why our kids, that's how. And I don't want to be down on our children because we created them. They are our offspring. We the ones that did something that causes them to not be like us or not want to be like us. I'm just saying now.
Come on.
Because we can't fix them. Our parents molded us into learning how to appreciate. I think appreciation is taught, or the lack of is neglect. I might be wrong. But something, I know something my parents must have done, because mama knew how to take one chicken.
Come on.
And feed 10 children. I don't know how she did it. I'm still trying to figure it out till this day. And I wind up with the chicken back. Some people don't even know what a chicken back. You did a chicken what? And they take 3 pieces. Well,
the wing actually has 3 parts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The final part at the end was kind of useless almost, but they had something on it.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to make use of that something. So she took that and part of some other parts and made the gravy
Mm-hmm.
with a little meat in it.
The neck and everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, we throw that stuff away because we think that it don't have no value to us. We want the thigh and
Mm-hmm.
the breast.
Mm-hmm.
And we say, and here's what we say. We say, oh, that's what the master gave us. That's why we eat that. So we don't want to get what the master gave us. So we just throw that away. Well, you wasteful. That's what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of a mindset. I don't care what slavery done to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ignore it, but I don't let that become me because there are some people that fought that fight, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
That's why our young folks don't want to talk that talk. They say you're repeating the same thing over and over and over, talking about the same old thing over again. We shall overcome. Shall we gather at the river?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. You're
When?
marching and protesting and this and that and other about the same old thing you've been doing for 300 years. When you gonna stop? They've created a mindset. We're gonna break this barrier. I just go to the white man's house and marry his daughter.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
They did it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they do it?
They did it.
Or marry her son or whatever.
Mm.
They talk about, I ain't gonna call her a Negro or Negro or whatever you gotta be careful how we pronounce that word or them words. And they say, well, I ain't gonna be tripping. I just go to the brother's house and I'm gonna take his daughter out. How you like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna call her that. I'm gonna call her baby.
Wow.
they looking for solutions. We
Mm-hmm.
focusing on the problem. That's why we got to meet this thing in the middle, and maybe we can come up with something that we can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Look here, you don't talk a lot, but when you say something, don't you? Curtis, give me what's on your heart, brother. We got to go into our topic of the day. What's on your heart, real quickly, before we move on?
Oh, nothing. You can go on to the topic, man. I'll go with the topic.
Okay, Cassandra.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question, Cassandra. And everybody view this thing differently. Everybody have a different take on it. But Cassandra, what is courage?
Yeah, everybody would have a different take on that. Courage to me is standing against odds, regardless of the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my best way to describe standing against the odds, in spite of any type of opposition. Does
everyone have courage?
They have it. Everybody doesn't use it. I believe that everything that we need, and I have a big sign on my because I use positive signage in my house.
Mm-hmm.
So every room has signage, some type of wording. But I have a huge one that says courage, and I see that every morning when I walk out of my bedroom. And I believe that that's what it takes. You need courage in order to make it just a day, just sometimes an hour, just to make it through whatever opposition you have facing you.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Brother Nick, what is courage? Brother Hicks?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is courage?
Courage. To go against what you're to stand up against what you really fear.
Mm-hmm.
Something that has a situation or a person or have the tendency to make you freeze up and stand still and not stop moving. Encourages the ability to find the fortitude to speak your truth, to be willing to pay the consequences.
Wow.
Wow.
And see,
I guess courage is once you see yourself as a coward. Once you see a situation that you cower out of it, and it torments you in your mind, and you make a decision that I'm going to be better the next time.
I've had situations, man, with certain things as this is crazy. I've had situations in my life, man, throughout my life of living, where I've been in situations where, honestly speaking, I don't know if it's courage or foolishness or male machismo, whatever you want to call it, but I walk into situations where I say, man, I'm probably gonna die today. I'm probably gonna die today because I knew it's something that had to happen, and certain things had to happen, and the certain people that you was talking or that you was going in opposition to, you know, they do something to you. They do something to you. But you know, you have to walk into that knowing that, you know, I might die today. This might be the day I die.
Yeah.
Leonard, what? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Hicks.
No. I feel you. You know, that's the same feeling of speaking up and utilizing my freedom of speech and your thought. That there's this a social norm and expectation, which you call political correctness, about how you speak.
Yeah.
So I guess the balance is like you said. This is a day, even if it's not physical death. I mean, my reputation, my friends. I might lose some friends now, but this day I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Exactly. Leonard, what is courage?
It's action in the faith, strength in when you're confronted with something that causes you pain or grief, or something that just frightens you. That's what it is you're still able to do it. A lot of people will say, well, you have a lot of courage to do this or that.
Yes.
And sometimes to me, it may not necessarily be courage. Some people see the things that they scared of. If they see somebody else doing it, they'll say, oh, you got a lot of courage. We're all not scared of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's whatever you're doing in face of fear, in face of risk, pain, or grief, but you're still doing it. It's like that notion that I can't get caught up in yesterday or tomorrow. I got to be present today. So that's what it means to me. Now, it may mean, matter of fact, that you bring it up, I'm hearing courage now used with people, with women, as far as their bodies. It takes a lot of courage, and they associate strength with wanting to be naked now. And I'm really working on that. Is that really a sign of strength? Is that all you want out of that? Look at me, I'm naked. But some people have those issues, I believe, that they believe that that's their fear. Maybe they fear something about their bodies, or the fear of being rejected. So now I'm tying that into activism, where at one point women used that as a tactic in activism. Back in the was it the 70s or whatever, I believe. Miss Cassandra probably could help remind me a little bit more about it, where it was this thing where feminists were just exposing their breasts. And then you had, I believe there was a woman in New York, her form of protest was nakedness. And so a lot of people would say that these women are showing that they have so much more courage. And that's why they're being so naked. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know how that ties together, man, but
But it's definitely a phenomenon. I'm noticing that I see women feeling strength, and they're showing it by being naked.
Yep.
Exposing their bodies. So that was a different level that I started. This was something I was doing independently, and you just so happened to be talking about that courage today. And I was like, well, what kind of courage is that? That's what I've been thinking about this past weekend.
Exactly.
But it means something different to everybody. I think.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, man. What is courage? Do we really understand what it is, what it means? What is the root of it? Badger, what is courage?
I was sitting here thinking when you brought it up too, because I was like, I've seen it used in so many different ways, and to me, courage is working on yourself and taking the time to see how you're affecting others. Courage to stand up for what's right. If you're seeing a child or a woman, being harmed and stuff, doing something about it. I think there's potential for it to be misused, just like any other word. And also, like any other word, it can also boil down to personal perception of what it means or what they're taught it means. So to me, when we get on topics like this, it's always going to boil down to perception and teachings.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Rico, brother, what is courage?
Courage is that one thing that you need the willpower to do to get out of your comfort zone. Things that you may have apprehension about or you may be unsure about, but at the same time, you have the willpower to step out and say what needs to be said or do what needs to be done when other people won't do it. Some people have some jobs that when you look at them, you'll be like, man, you know what? They couldn't pay me $10,000 an hour.
Exactly.
Somebody doing it. Way up on the top of a mountain somewhere. Things that may be very risky to their best interest. You know what I'm saying? They may risk their lives. That's courageous to go and do some of the things that the average person won't do. That's what courage is to me. And it's sort of going back to what you was talking about with appreciation. I was thinking about with appreciation, nothing is more important than a balance of self-appreciation. And with those things, you would need love. You would need value. Those things play a part in that. And also confidence and courage. Because if you have enough self-appreciation for yourself, you may step out on a limb and do the things that the average person won't do out of self-appreciation. Out of the fact that you love yourself and you respect yourself or maybe your children or your family so much that you say, well, you know what, man, I know this is a risky situation. I know I may be taking a chance, but I got to do what I got to do. Might be risking my life going in this house, saving this family, but I got to do what I got to do. So that's what courage is. Courage is putting yourself on the line and getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself at risk for something that you believe in and you stand for, even when the odds are against you. Most likely when the odds are against you from succeeding.
Exactly. That's good. Curtis, can courage or lack of courage, let me ask it in that way as well, can that kill you?
Absolutely. Courage to me is a person's ability to stand in moments of adversity, regardless to what that is.
Dr. King had courage. Malcolm X had courage. Marcus Garvey had courage.
Mm-hmm.
Nat Turner had courage. Denmark Vesey had courage. Obama had courage.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Cummings had courage. John, I always forget his last name, had courage. And they stood for that which was right when the cultural perspective said it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to believe. Matter of fact, I really believe that's exactly what Leonard was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is the cultural perspective on the female body could, in a sense, a woman standing naked could state her level of courage to do. Your perspective says that basically, if you over a size 6, you're obese. You know what I mean? You're not you're not as attractive as others. When I think about the word, I think about it both physically and emotionally, because with the world that we living in today, you got to have more emotional courage than you actually have to have physical courage. And that doesn't separate the fact, and I'll land the plane right here, that doesn't separate the fact that the word itself is used in today's world to exploit a people, to exploit a certain group and or culture and or sect. In our country, the word courage is thrown around like it's an easy word to physically define, and it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's sacrifices. When you displaying courage, there's sacrifices that have to be made. There's decisions that have to be made that may sacrifice everything that you have achieved and or believed in.
Exactly. That's good. Toussaint, what is courage, brother? Mute your line, Curtis. Toussaint, are you there?
Why my mute button always gets stuck? Oh, I guess it's refusing to settle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody can say, "Well, I just deal with it like it is. I'm good," and you're in a bad situation,
Mm-hmm.
and you're complaining. But when you say, "No, I'm not going to settle for this," that's how we got here. I'm not talking about here in America. I'm talking about got to the point where there are some people that said, I'm not going to settle for sharecropping. I ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what? When a little lady, I know we don't like to talk about that, but we have to remember those Malcolm X's and Martin Luther's and Rosa Parks and even those that we was talking about marching and all that kind of stuff. Those things take courage to stand against injustice and corruption.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need courage these days to overcome, people that evidently I said we, but are in office, and they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
It takes courage to go to those places and try to make a change. You know, so it says within yourself, I'm not gonna take this no more. I'm gonna do something. I'm not gonna just talk.
Take this job and shove it.
Exactly. That takes courage to walk away a job that you know, even when somebody says, well, I'm gonna work for myself. I ain't finna hit no clock no more. That takes courage.
Yes, sir.
It really takes courage to get, man, I struggled. It took me some courage this morning just to get
Lord. Lord.
Yeah, because I knew the mailman was coming. Anybody can wait for somebody else to do something for them. So anyway,
that's good. That's good, Brother Pete. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Doing good this morning, sir. How about you?
Hey, doing good. Doing good.
Radio, Morning Glow, panel, listening audience.
Pete, we asking a question, and I'm glad you called in. I want to hear your take on this as well. Pete, what is courage?
What is courage? Courage is a resolved fortitude down within oneself to stay on mission with what you determine you want to do, what you want to stand up for, what you believe in. It's a foundational principle in your being that you align yourself with within yourself. And you gather this by your thought process, your emotions, understanding how to control them and control your thinking. And in spite of what you see, holding a dead-on focus to what is real and true and meaningful to you. In spite of what you see, in spite of what you're experiencing now, you stand and stay on mission to achieve, to accomplish, to arrive where you desire, or for things to become as you desire them to be.
That's good. That's good. Brother Hicks, have we, to a certain degree, have we become a courageless society?
Oh wow, for sure. we hear and we obey. They get enough talking heads to say things, and they have a couple mandates and go through the political thing, and everybody just buckle in and do what they say. I think that I was thinking about the upsurge that's saying now with COVID and possibly going back to the mandates in certain states, right? And I did, and my whole understanding, because I researched right at the beginning about the mask and its effectiveness. I think it has some effectiveness, but I think the push to have everybody wearing it was sort of financial. I think a lot of people had money invested in the product and the production of it. But yeah, we don't stand up. I mean, it's rough. I understand. It's not like I don't understand it. You know, I'm sure I'm on some kind of watch list. I mean, just because my past, my history. So many of us now that really don't know. If you go check it out, you might perhaps on a watch this for some reason or another. So in this atmosphere of surveillance and creating stool pigeons and snitches, right? It's an atmosphere now where you got to be leery when you speak. It's not a matter of being cowardly or afraid, it's being wise. But even though you have this freedom, you got to guard yourself with it. You know, I think that's what happened in a lot of police encounters. People assume because it's written that they have rights, they're citizens, and they have rights to be talked to and treated a certain way. But in reality, you've got to be flexible to adjust to the situation.
That's good.
Sort of measure, yes.
No. Finish your thought, brother.
But, oh yeah, it's I when all the riots and stuff was going to Black Lives Matter, I was always watching and doing research and trying to understand, because I had seen this before. Like I said, in 1968, I graduated high school in '67. In 1968, they had the riots in Newark, so it was like a shocking experience right there. But I watch how, I don't know what it'd be. Maybe it'd be fear, maybe it'd be anger, disrespect. But it's like I watch these situations. You can see, like, okay, that cop wasn't right, but golly, bro, it's almost like the rappers and the music and the movies and stuff make that's what courage is.
Mm-hmm.
Courage is us pulling out your gat and shooting somebody. Courage is just walking over people's feelings. But courage is sometimes just the ability to be still, be quiet.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Cassandra, talk to me, sis. What's on your heart? And the brother put something out there at that time.
Yeah, for me, when I share my experiences, our life experiences are our best testimony, because it's our perspective and it's what we have been through. And as we've been talking, I think I shared this incident a few years ago. This is just my experience, something I went through. I had a house for women in domestic violence in Stone Mountain. And this guy came to the house looking for his girlfriend. Well, she ran into my house. It was a neighbor, but she knew what I did. And I opened my door and she ran past me and up the steps in my house, trying to get away from him. And he came in the house and he was trying to, push his way past me. And he did. He pushed his way past me. And he was like, I'm going to kill her, blah, 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 blah. And so he started going up my steps, and I had a little nightstand a hall stand right by my door. And I started screaming at him. And I said, Rico, if you don't come back down, and I started opening the drawer of the little stand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I ain't had nothing in that drawer, but I was like, and I had other women in the house that were domestic violence women. There were 4 women in the house. And so he said, I'm going to go get her, blah, 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 blah. And I started opening the door. I said, if you do not come down my steps, I'm going to drop you where you stand. And I kept opening the drawer. And he turned and he looked at me. And I said, get out of my house right now. And he started coming back down because I kept opening the drawer. He started coming down the steps. And once he got put to my door, I pushed the door shut and dialed 911. I had nothing in that drawer. Nothing was in that drawer. But I knew that if I did not stand up to him, those other 4 women in my house would have said, man, she can't protect us because she can't stand, what I'm saying? This guy done busted in the house after this girl. But I think that for me, that was courage, because I had nothing. And if he had and this guy was a big guy. And if Rico had decided he wanted to do something to me, there wouldn't have been nothing I could do. He was a huge guy. But I felt like I had to take a stand to protect those women, to let them know that I would protect them with my own life.
At any cost. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, just for the record, for the people that's listening, when she say Rico, she's not talking about Rico right there. She's not talking. Rico's what?
Oh, no, his name was Rico. No, his name was Rico.
Good deal. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Yeah, some situations, man, people might perceive as courageous, and then some people might look at them as foolish. Like I was thinking about what Curtis said about Nat Turner. And you have some people be like, man, that nigga was stupid, man. You see what happened to him?
Yeah.
And in some ways, I don't think that about him. But then, I look at the perspective of where we came from, our ancestors and our elders. In some cases, if they were going to be courageous, it was going to cause them to sacrifice their lives. Or they're going to have to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And then know after killing these people, if they didn't get it to Mexico, that somebody was gonna probably kill them, so they had to do what they had to do and then take off. Take the family with them, or maybe leave the family back, whatever. But they had to do what they had to do. That took a lot of courage. But then think about the ones that did that. We know how most of those rebellions got squashed with severe vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they caught those people that rebelled, and then they put their heads on poles and lined them up so the rest of the black people would see it and they have second thoughts. Or maybe they would tie them to those horses and rip them apart, rip the women apart so the babies could fall out and then kill the babies. Man, that would kill a lot of people's courage. So then you think to yourself, well, was complying courageous? In some cases it was. I remember when Kanye made that statement about slaves wanted to be slaves or whatever. I didn't like that statement, but then to a certain extent I understood that some people actually did comply because they had their courage beaten out of them. They had it frightened out of them. They were so frightened to the point of where they knew they wanted to fight back. They wanted to kill Malcolm. They wanted to poison, but they knew that justice in this country wasn't going to work in their favor. They had to do something extreme. If they were going to survive, they were going to have to go somewhere and hide. So some people made the decision not to be courageous and fight and kill Malcolm. They just went ahead and told their children, you better be quiet. Shh, hush, hush, hush.
And to your point, Rico, was that courageous though?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying, because it took a lot to have to bow down and drop your head and go along with the status quo just so you could survive and be there for your family when your life was on the line. So that's why I said that about there being a lot of sacrifice involved in courage.
How much of that, Rico, and we got definitely got a few more people on the line. I want to go to them as well, but how much of that is still rampant today?
It's very rampant. I mean, you have a lot of people that they say they're being quiet because they need to continue making the money that they need to provide for their family, so they may keep their mouth shut about stuff that the fellow cops are saying, stuff that their co-workers are saying, stuff that their bosses are saying. You know how many people have to be whistleblowers?
Yeah,
they have courage because when they blow that whistle and they expose what's going on when everybody else was being quiet, they might not be able to make another dollar.
Yep.
They might need handouts. They might need GoFundMe because they have gone against the system, and it takes a lot to go against the system in place, especially when they are dominant and they're doing wrong. But it takes a lot of courage. Once again, a lot of sacrifice, because listen, there's consequences behind this. When I go after these people, not only am I going to lose my job, but I might have to leave this country. Like Eric Snowden or that Assange guy. So many people had to leave this country as political prisoners because they know the consequences for standing up for what's right, which was also courageous. It wasn't to stand up for what was right. But now these people are in situations like the Black Panthers that's been locked up for decades.
Yes.
All for being courageous. They made a sacrifice though. They don't have their families. They haven't seen their families. And can you imagine not seeing your family in 25, 30 years?
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Leonard, how wide is the gap between being courageous and being cowardly?
I mean, I don't think about it in those terms. A coward is a coward. That's just who they are. And a courageous person is a courageous person. If I see someone being cowardly, I don't assume that they just cowardly at that point in time.
They're always cowards.
Yeah, you're a coward. I mean, I think sometimes we go too far when it comes to certain things. Just because a person don't do something don't mean they're a coward. Maybe they just don't want to do it. So I think other people make judgment calls on other people sometimes unfairly. I don't know why you did or did not do what I would have done. I don't really think it's even my place, really.
Do
It's
you?
You're going to do what you want to do.
Let me ask you this question: do you think if all the stuff that's going on that has been happening with the police brutality and things of that nature, do you think it's courageous for the people just to stand back, take out their cameras and video, or do you think it's cowardly that they didn't do anything to stop the process?
It's neither coward nor courageous. Neither. I don't even feel the need to label those people that way. For whatever reason, they did what they did because they felt that that is what they wanted to do, courageous or not. Some of them probably did it to share it with law enforcement, to help support cases, to do those types of things. Some people get paid for those types of things. So for whatever reason somebody is doing something, I never look on it and judge it that way. You know, it's about utility to me. How can it be used? You said that, well, they must be cowards. Didn't nobody do nothing? No, that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. Why? Because they didn't do what you would have done?
Well, not necessarily what I would have done, but didn't do anything. Did nothing.
How do you know? How do you know that?
Because evidence shows that they did nothing. Because the person died with the guy with the knee on his
neck.
Oh,
okay. So you're talking about why somebody didn't save his life?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because that's a better question.
Yeah, that's what I saw when they sit around. I said with the police brutality, when they sit around and see all the dastardly things happening and people are dying. I didn't say
some people may have felt it wasn't none of their business to interfere. Some people could have thought that. There's lots of things people could have thought. But if you were standing there, if I was there, but you wasn't. But you wasn't.
And that's the point. But if I was, there might be one of those moments where, you know, like I said, I had moments where I say I'm gonna lose my life today.
But who cares? Because it's so hypothetical.
Well, it is hypothetical, but my thing is just right here.
But you're judging people who were there by your fantasy.
No. It has nothing to do with me judging them or my fantasy. What I'm saying is, had I been there, I would have done something. And my question was, the ones that just sit out of there and watch this man die with this knee on back of his, I'm using that example, with the knee on back of his neck for amount of time they had his knee on back of the neck. Were they courageous because they didn't come up and do anything, because other things could have transpired out of that, or were they cowardly for just not doing anything at all?
It would be great if all, you know, I always tell people that if I was there, if you want to be there, why don't you go join the police force or EMS or something like that? Because those people have those types of jobs because they're there.
You don't have
That's
to
what they thrive on.
But you don't have to have that kind of job to be concerned.
Right, but everybody can stand and say, "Oh, I would have, and I would have," but you wasn't. So that's why it's so easy to say what you would have done.
And had I been, had God placed me at that place at that particular time, I'm just saying that would have been one of those instances where I say I may lose my life today. I may die today because I'm going to do something to do whatever I can do to stop it. Right. And if in my efforts is proven that I wasn't able to do anything, at least I tried.
I completely understand. But I would rather talk to someone who was there. Okay. That's just my point of view.
Okay.
I don't sit around. I would have did this and I would have did. I don't know what I would have done.
Can I go?
Yes, go ahead.
If I'm understanding the scenario, you're talking about George Floyd?
Yes. Now, Badger, had you been there? I'm gonna throw the question to you, Badger. Had you been there during that time, and you saw this officer, this big man with his knee on back of this guy's neck, and he's just laying there, what would you have done at that time? The guy,
to be honest, I probably could have just told the officer to get off, and he would have listened.
And why do you think he would have listened?
Because I have this really insane aura. I change when I see people in danger. I don't know how to explain it. When I was watching that, I was observing the different videos and the couple of different perspectives, and I saw a lot of fear. Saw trauma in some people's eyes. Wouldn't surprise me if some of them, thought if they tried to do something, they probably wouldn't be able to go home to their family, which is association with fear. Like, it's hard to say what each individual person that was there was going through their mind. Because most people have a fear of the police to some degree because they want to make sure they come home. Because maybe they don't have a contingency plan to make sure their kids or wife are taken care of. Is that being a coward? When they're trying to also, they're worried about their family? Or is it courage to swallow their pride or their instinct to make sure they're going to still be there for their family?
And see, with that, that goes to individual interpretation. I say, and this is me talking, this is my opinion. I say it was somewhat cowardly to not do anything to save a person's life. And like I say again, it may be one of those instances, like I spoke about earlier, where I say I might die today. I might die today. This might be my day. It might be my last day here. But I'm going to do something to try to help that situation.
Since we're
That's
speaking
just me.
in a type of hypothetical, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What's to say that you were there
Mm-hmm.
and your instinct kicked in to save that person?
Yes.
But then someone or something stops you.
I don't understand what that someone or something would be. And the reason why I say that, because I'm making my way over to that situation that's going on at that particular time. And I'm going to do everything that I could do to help that situation. Get the man up off the ground, man. You don't have to do him like this.
I mean, if God doesn't want you to do something, you're not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, now God stopped me, of course. Absolutely.
What is that, courage or cowardly?
Well, I don't put that in either category. If God stopped me from doing it, that's neither nor.
Then wouldn't it be possible that the reason you weren't there is because God knows how you would have reacted?
Possibility. But my thing is this right here. Possibility. But my thing is this right here. I'm speaking about the people that were actually there at that particular time.
Like I understand that, but what
Leonard said is hypothetical, and it is a hypothetical situation. But my thing is the people that were there, that had an opportunity to say something or do something, did nothing. Those are the ones I say, well, to me, and this is my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but to me, it was cowardly to do nothing.
So you do know if a person has trauma brain, the possibility of them being able to do something is just about impossible, depending on the severity of it.
But we got to move on, Badger. But not everybody there had trauma brain. Somebody there was in their right and clear mind and still selected to do nothing. That's all. That's the one I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the one that was in a situation that had mental issues and things like that, where they could not do anything. I'm talking about the one that was there, that was very competent and had the ability and the skills to go out there and do something. Those are the ones I'm speaking about. Those I'm speaking about that, to me, were cowardly because they did nothing.
You want to know what happened with that, Raheem?
Yes, sir.
The same thing that happened. When you always hear people say, well, why y'all ain't mad about the black people that sold y'all to the white people when slavery started?
Mm-hmm.
That authority figure. Once somebody put down their foot and show you that they are the dominant factor and they got those guns, then you subconsciously get programmed to look at that authority figure as the dominant one that you just have been proven and shown to not go against.
Mm-hmm.
So to a certain extent, you have been programmed to become a coward, because it takes a special person to look around and say, well, you know what? I want to make it home to my family. But I'm fixing to chunk this bottle over there at them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fixing to chunk this trash can on the side of the road at them.
But you still did
something. To do something just to get that pressure off of that man's neck.
Exactly. But you still did something. That's exactly. You still did something. And that's my point. Don't mean to cut y'all, Rico, but that's my point, man. To stand back and do nothing until this man is absolutely dead. That's Captain. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Captain, we're asking a question this morning, and to start it off, I'm gonna start you off from the beginning. What is courage?
Well, courage is defined as one who's willing to run into the heat of battle with no regard for his life or the outcome. I'm going to say it again. Courage is one who's willing to run into the heat of battle with no regard for their life or the outcome. That's the definition of courage.
Now, Captain, we're talking right now about the people that stood by and stood around and watched as Mr. Floyd had the knee on the back of his neck to the point where he died. And I say, and this is just me talking, I could be totally wrong. I say they were not courageous at all. They were cowardly to stand by and just watch this happen. What do you say? Some people say they may be courageous because of the fact they knew if they did something, it would open up a whole different situation. And so some say they maybe it was courageous for them not to do anything. I don't agree with that. What do you say?
Well, fear has a way of paralyzing the victim. It has a way of, some people, there's an old saying, you become paralyzed by fear. There's some of them became paralyzed by fear. What you mean paralyzed by fear? Meaning that they seen a situation that they should have got involved with, but they was worried about the outcome. Remember, courage is one who's willing to run into the heat of battle with no regard for their life or the outcome. The outcome, I may come out live, I may not come, I don't care. So some people, you have to understand, they're choked by fear. And they have the same attitude that police officers have. I just want to go home. The police officer also, not this particular dude here, he reacts out of fear. He shoot an individual out of fear. And because their attitude is, I want to go home. But I think that those who stood by, I would not use the word cowardly. They just basically have not ever been in a situation where they had to face a life and death situation. For anyone to get involved with that situation, it could have been a life and death situation for them. Now, imagine if that was their mother. I don't think nobody would have stood by and said, get your knee off my mama.
Yeah.
No, it would have been, man, get your guy, and would have bum rushed them.
Exactly.
So love has a key factor in how you respond to any crisis that may bring you into harm's way. You run into a burning building out of love. Your mother would lift up a car to save a baby out of love, fight a bear out of love. So the love factor has to be very key. And true, you have to love for your brother and your sister what you love for yourself. So now, we all had to put ourselves in that situation. I'm sure you polled everybody on this show what they would have done. I gave that same scenario as I asked Sister Cassandra if she was to deal with a situation where a woman had her breasts out and the police had her down, what she would have done. And she gave the answer, she just wouldn't have sit down and did nothing. Even if she said to the police officer, please, sir, would you please give this woman some dating? She just wouldn't do nothing. She could have said, well, I just could have, I don't do nothing but film and video, because that's what people decide to do, to videotape it. But I do think, I wouldn't say they were cowardly, but I would say this. If you're a grown man, I wouldn't have put that on the women. But if you're a grown man and you see the man's life absolutely leaving him, and you know it's leaving him, then I would say, if you really know his life is leaving him, it would be cowardly for a grown man not to intervene. But then again, there's very few of us around. I know we got some real men on this line. I can say that about Rico and everybody else, but I don't think there's a lot of brothers in the hood that really would have stepped to the challenge.
Exactly. Pete, what's on your heart, brother? Pete, you there?
Well, I know, yeah, in those type of situations, remember, those things go down in a matter of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And with the ability and the presence of brute force and the ability to use overwhelming brute force lying on the perpetrating side, or the side that's engaging in the action that appears to be or is substantiated to be wrong, are you prepared to go to the ultimate is the question. That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. You said, we are still a courageous society. No, the society has been punkified to a large degree. Amongst one another, you'll go to the ultimate, but you have hesitation when it comes to fighting the systematic structure in place for these so-called individuals that are in authority.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going to leave here one day. The means that we use end of life are universal, well known, and utilized equally across the planet. So the point is, if you are not in your mind and your being ready to go to the level of ultimate taking of life, then I don't think, and I would not advise you to engage in anything like that, because it could very easily, certainly in the United States, come quickly to a situation where life can be challenged, the existence and continuance of life, and the necessity to take it and neutralize it. And again, these things happen in a matter of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not there, then I certainly don't think that you should do it, or I wouldn't encourage you to engage in anything like that, because too often times it's gonna go to the extreme. One way or the other, it will go to the extreme. We're dealing with a mindset of power and force. We're dealing with domination, and we're dealing with coercion, intimidation. So either you're going to be dominated or you're going to dominate. Either you're going to accept domination, coercion, and intimidation, or you're going to say no to it and stand up against it. And that to a level of extremity, if necessary.
Good deal. Good deal. 508-924-3521. The phone lines are open. 508-924-3521. Again, for the people that did not have a pen, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. We're talking about courage today. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm just listening to everyone's descriptions, and I'm reminded of oftentimes, us as Black folk, we're asked to make decisions that could ruin our careers, and I did that. I'm reminded that I never forget, like when I was in the military, and they rock with me, whatever. But I'll never forget the first time I actually earned the respect from my fellow soldiers. And in most cases, the first thing that was said was that Curtis took a lot of courage to do that, bro. But I never forget it, man. My last unit, I was in they call it Field Artillery Unit. I was Patriot. And my unit, my particular battery, was 99%, maybe 95% Black. And my first sergeant stood in front of the whole entire battery. And he had this long spiel. And the last thing he said was, I need you boys to remember that this unit is run by the good old boys. Right? I'm sitting there, right? I'm paying attention to the behavior and the body posture of everybody when he said that. Some people was looking down at their shoes. when he said that, man, folk looked straight up like, what? You know what I'm saying? You saw folk fall back. You know, you saw this disheartening type of, you know what I mean? Like, it was weird, man, but I seen it. So he ended his statement as saying, so who has questions? If you have questions, raise your hand. And I raised my hand. And I said, I don't mean no harm, Top. But first on, I need you to explain who the good old boys is. Because last time I looked, I don't think none of us like being called boy, for one. And for two, I need you to explain to us how the good old boy system benefited us in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. I'll never forget that, man. I became a target. From that day forward, I was a target. All the way up until I got out, I was a target. But sometimes, you know, in the face of adversity, you know, you got to stand up for what you believe in. You got to stand up for what's right. You know what? I'm going to correct that. You got to stand up for what's right, even though you might not believe in it.
Exactly.
Is it right? Is it morally right? So just hearing everybody talk, man, y'all got me thinking.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
You know, I was listening to people talk about the people that were out there when George Floyd died. Once again, my life experience. I've been with several members of the Floyd family twice, and the one thing that they have said is they appreciated the people that were out there that filmed it, the people that you could hear yelling at them. You know, he can't breathe, blah, blah, blah. Stop, why are you doing this? Those people, yes, they may not have gotten in there and pushed the cop off or, you know, gotten in their face or whatever. But to me, they were courageous until to the family members that I've heard, they appreciated what those people did. So, you know, what we may call cowardice, someone else may call courageous. It was courageous for them to stand there, especially the young girl, to stand there and film, even though they could have come at her. They could have come at all of those people. Several of them were being very aggressive and asking them to stop. So I consider them all courageous. No, they didn't get in there and actually stop it, but who knows what they were feeling. The fear, someone mentioned that. The fear factor in that would have been tremendous. Just think about that. You had 3 other officers. It just wasn't Chauvin. It was 3 other officers there. So you step up, you could have got shot right on the spot. So we don't dismiss people because they didn't do it the way we think they should have done it.
And I could definitely go along with your point, and it makes sense what you're saying. I'm just saying, and when I was speaking to myself, I was saying what I would have done, knowing me like I know me, what I would have done in that situation. I don't want to dismiss anything or anybody. I'm just saying what I would have done. I think I ought to put a little more effort into it. And that's just me talking. I'm not, like I said, again, not to dismiss them, not to talk bad about them in any kind of way at all. And in any kind of way at all. I'm just saying, had I been there, it would have been one of those moments, one of those situations where, I might die today. I might die. This might be my last day here. And so, that's, and like I say, I don't want anybody, I don't want to come across like I'm saying, I don't want to come across like I'm saying that, they didn't do this or they didn't do that, or even, and I did say it was cowardly. I did say that, because that's just judging on what I would have done. But somebody wanted to say something.
Yeah, I want to say this, right? And yes, you most certainly could have understood that you used the word die. Taking again into consideration the person to get involved. That's what probably weighed in their mind, because it didn't have to be one person. It could be 2 people now, you and Floyd, with your neck being choked out. I think what you're saying, and I don't think it's no moral judgment on anyone. I like what Cassandra said, dealing with the family, because those who even took and videotaped they really felt they did something, and they did. It was much that video footage that convicted the dude. Now, we have a situation with the dude, Eric Gardner, up in Long Island. And you hearing a man talking about, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I can't breathe. Well, I mean, I got you on video, Eric. Don't worry, man. We got it on video. Man, put the damn camera down and take one for the team.
Yeah.
And the question is, listen, I'm going to put this out there. If this is something I think is real, is a reality, if they would have got involved on the level that you said, Raheem, if their involvement would have saved George's life, regardless if they would have got beat up, they would have got handcuffed, and they would have got thrown in jail, if it would have saved his life,
yes,
would you would have made a move then? If you really thought, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm putting the damn camera down, and I'm going for it. Well, at least you may get beat up a couple stitches, but George's alive.
Yeah, exactly.
The key is if my involvement would save his life, I think that has to be the motivating factor for anyone on this line or on this show. That got to be the motivating factor. Will I save his life? There are many heroic acts, and you know this, Raheem, of people at the last minute, at a moment's notice, do some heroic stuff that if they would have contemplated on it, they probably would have told you I wouldn't have did it the second time. But sometimes nature and instinct in that individual would make them step out and do something that would put their life in jeopardy. I've heard about these kind of acts many times. And even when you're in the military, like Curtis, you know, what would make a man jump on a grenade for his fellow officer? Brother, of those who've been in the military, they know their real stories. They're real stories where the guy see somebody throw a grenade, he see his crew grenade, and he jumps on the grenade. That's one who rushed into the heat of battle with no regard for his life or the outcome. That's courage. But it's done under a certain condition, a certain act, and sometimes under a moment's notice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
You know what a cottonmouth is?
Yes, the rattlesnake.
Water moccasin. I remember when we was kids, we used to swim and walk through what we call a gully, big old ditch, and ride our bikes through the field. And I forgot whether I think I was riding a bike and I stopped. And my brother said, Donna, don't move. There's a snake between. I don't know if he said a snake was between my legs or there was actually one, and he pointed it out, but I didn't move. I mean, somebody said something like that. I froze. And he reached between my legs and on the ground and grabbed that snake. Now you got two little boys, me and him, in the same type of danger. And what Captain said was that this is them things that put something on you, and they're not gonna run.
No,
they don't run. And here's things that we did was like as kids seemed like we were more. I mean, at least my brother was. I was terrified because I'm talking about froze. I'll probably freeze now because I don't like snakes. But he kind of just reached between my legs and grabbed the snake.
Wow.
Not worried about the outcome. That's what he did. And there are people that you can't think it. If you think it, you're gonna make another decision.
Yeah.
If you weigh it out, you're gonna say, well, you worry about the outcome. But if you, I think, then maybe somebody can tell me. I don't think to be courageous, sometimes it's not planned.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just winds up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's a person that is drowning. Rico knows about that. I hear him talk about that all the
exactly.
time. You know, I don't think he said, well, let me think about what's going to happen if I jump in that water. Can I really swim in it? Because a drowning person will drown you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got that right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, they'll put you on. I recently, there was a person that was drowning, and 2 people went in to save it. All of them dead.
Wow.
So you can't sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes you got to weigh it out, but sometimes to be courageous is not thought of. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question, Toussaint. And had the roles been reversed, and you saw that snake between your brother's legs, do you think you would have been as courageous to do what he did?
Rhetorical
question. Rhetorical question.
I know what that meant. I just learned what that was yesterday. That means you don't have to answer.
Yes, sir.
But I tell you this. I remember when you know how you used to play the dozen, and you was not going to talk about my mom. My brother and one of his classmates, I guess, was playing the doves, and he said, "That's you, man." I tried to take that guy eye out.
It's good Lord. Let me keep this thing going. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I was thinking about that situation, and Donald brought it up for me when I jumped in to save my brother. I didn't know how to swim. I didn't know how to swim one bit. And it was people that could swim sitting down at the end of the pool watching my little brother drown. And if I wouldn't have made the decision, he'd have been in the newspaper. I wouldn't have had a little brother. So I had to jump in water that was over my head and work this thing out of how to maneuver through this water, because I couldn't even tread water. Only thing I knew how to do was hold my breath on the water, and it was good that I loved to do that when I took my baths every night. I love water. I just needed to learn how to swim. But holding my breath wasn't no problem. I said, well, you know what? I'll figure this out. I just hold my breath long enough to see what I could do. And I could have been up SHIT Creek.
Yeah.
Had I not thought under pressure. And so I think about the situation with George Floyd. And, you know, people keep saying fear, but they forget about shock. You walking up and you ain't expecting to see something like this. But all of a sudden, out of your peaceful day, you just going to the store to get you a drink or a pack of blunts or whatever, and boom, George Floyd situation. You don't even know that it's going to end like this. But you shocked.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing that'll hold you back too. But see, then that's when that something natural in you that everybody ain't got steps up. That's when you really find out when courage is natural. That's when you find out that some people just got that it about them and other people just ain't got it. You know, my whole life, man, I've always been the type of person that would and stood up against bullies, stood up for people. It was hard for me to watch people get mistreated or taken advantage of just because. So I would always be the one that'll step in and be like, nah, you ain't fixing to do that around me. And so I think about that George Floyd situation, and I think about those times that I stepped in front of other people to defend them or protect them from being done wrong. It was because I always thought about what if that was me being taken advantage of, and other people were sitting around watching. So when I never seen the George Floyd video, but I heard certain bits and pieces of it. I heard him crying before his mama. But you know what I am? I'm an empath. And you know something else I thought to myself? The whole time George was down there saying, I can't breathe, he was also thinking to himself, ain't nobody gonna help me. They just fixing to watch me die. Why won't somebody throw a trash can or something? Just, if they just move a little bit, I could breathe a little bit more. Maybe I could turn to the side. Just do something to make him move and get off my neck. Please, somebody, for 9 minutes. Somebody, please do something. Y'all just don't sit there and watch. I hear y'all, but listen, y'all hear me too? And I put myself in his shoes. And the fast thinking me, knowing who I am and what I've done in my past, I can hypothetically say with 100% guarantee that my mind would have went into action. And even though I needed to protect myself, I would have looked around and found something to get just a little pressure off of his neck and distract him.
Exactly.
It would have been something. I might not have rushed him. I might not have hit him. I might not have shot him. But I was going to do something to make them lose their position so he could get just a little bit of room and maybe change this situation up, because I know me. Like I said, once again, anytime I took up with anybody or anytime I jumped in to save somebody, I thought about the fact of what if that was me?
Exactly.
So that's when you really know how people have an appreciation of life. Now, it's one thing to have a self-appreciation of your own life to say, well, you know what? I ain't finna go out there and get myself killed. But then you have some to say, you know what, man? If that was me, I want somebody to help me. And I love life so much that, you know what I'm saying, I would hope somebody would love my life enough to help me instead of watching me die. So guess what I ain't fishing to do? I am not fishing to watch you die. I'm going to do something. And like I said, that brain would have went to moving fast, because some people can't move and work under pressure. They can't move. They can't move on the spur of the moment like that. But some can.
Exactly. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm just listening. It's, to me, it's like I say, to each his own. I don't, a lot of people say, well, you brave to do this. I don't consider it brave to do a whole bunch of things. I just don't, man. Like, say, for instance, people will come and ask you, well, what, man, I can't believe you did that. Why you can't believe I did that? Because you wouldn't have done it.
Wow.
Like, people just say, man, you're going to get in trouble. What's that? I don't care nothing about trouble.
Yeah, my cousin.
It ain't courage to a person, like with the story that Toussaint told. If you're not scared of snakes, then people do that every day. Because they're not scared of snakes.
Yeah.
So what one person may view as courage, another person may not. Like we talked about this incident. We just don't label people cowards. I mean, I know a lot of people, like, say, I used to tell folks, if you really want to be a big hero and you love this, why you ain't join the military? You know, I would did it. May sound like you'd be a good guy, cat, to go to the military. Or I mean, just simple. EMS people is the best people. Man, you ain't gonna meet braver people than people that work for EMS. Because they don't even care what it is. If it's an emergency, they're just gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So so when people get to talk, I'm never gonna disparage people's intents or what have you. Because like Miss Cassandra said, when you're on the other side, you appreciate everything everybody does. I'm not gonna sit back and call something like when we'll say, well, there's a possibility that somebody's gonna go to jail today. Guess who's not in the jail line? Me. Why would I go to jail for you? Who gonna take care of my family when I'm in jail? You know, sometimes people do stuff and they got nothing to do with courage. They're just crazy as hell.
Hey.
You know, it's that type of thing. So one, I think we should need to be careful about when we calling people names and judging them. Because a lot of people did a lot that day. They suffered a lot that day. You know, there's some people that probably cried more than the Floyd family.
And still crying.
So things have to be in perspective. Trust me. Hang around the hood all day. You get plenty of opportunities as you lose your life. Stand at the corner store.
Got it.
On the store. I guarantee you, an opportunities come along every day for you to think you saving somebody's life. Because it's always a bunch of terrible things going on a lot of times. So we look at that one moment. Oh, in this moment I would have did this. But what about the moment every day? You know, when people say, man, I always stop people. Man, you so courageous. Hold on. I might have been doing what I felt I had to do. It ain't had nothing to do with courage. I just had to do it because it was important to me to do that thing. I don't count that as courage.
A lot of people do, though, Leonard. A lot of people do.
So there's differences with people and their view of courage.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Willow.
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, Morning Glow.
Good morning. Asking a question, and I want to hear your heart on this right here. Willow, what is courage?
Courage? Okay, I heard you talking about like the George Floyd thing. A lot of people stood back and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of situations are connected with when you care about somebody. It depends on your heart. How much do you care about seeing someone being hurt? Or, you know, even the situations where you see a man is beating a woman on a corner. Would you have courage enough to step in because you care about it? Or would you just be afraid that something might happen to you? It just depends on the individual. How do they feel about helping someone in that form of fashion? I even saw in the news where two young boys, one was like 8 or 10, I believe, and they jumped in the water to save their father. I mean, them two together probably didn't weigh no more than 120 pounds, and their father weighed 180 pounds, and he was drowning, and they jumped in the water, and they got their father out that water, and they saved him. So, you know, courage is connected with caring. And when you close to someone, it even becomes stronger. That's the way I see it, you know. And sometimes people just say, I don't want to get involved. And it has nothing to do with you being this or you being afraid of anything. So that's what I believe right here.
Good deal. Goddess, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Goddess, what is courage?
To me, courage is something that stems from within. It's part of your spirit. It's part of your DNA. I listened to how Willa explained it, and some people will step out for somebody they care. But to me, courage is stepping out of the box, not even for the ones that you care. Stepping out of the box is doing something that needs to be done because that's what is right. At that particular moment, time, and effort. And most people that extend a courage start at a younger time in life. It just before they hit a major moment. So whether it's stop something small, another kid hitting an animal, you know what I'm saying, or kicking an animal or whatever, and you start off something small because you start building up your courage for certain things. I know, and a lot of people do it without even thinking that they're in danger. When we're talking about the police with George Floyd, a lot of people are scared to intervene on a situation like that, or did they even notice that they were on his neck? You know, because a lot of people will say, I've seen the police on their back, on their neck. And that's what was happening with George Floyd, that he was on his neck, which caused blood flow to his head, everything. So a situation like that is a little totally different, but I felt like somebody would have intervened. I know that I've been in a situation when I did that protest between the police department and the crowd. And I had to walk up and down in the middle of it because the police department was completely armed, riot gear in the whole nine. It's a whole different feeling. So it's something that it's going to take a lot of courage to do, and a lot of people, everybody ain't in that position to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that they wanted to march on those people. They wanted to come up and attack those folks. And when I told them, hey, that's your standing ground, you can't go further than that. But thank God I also had the captain with me too. So I heard what's his name said about his oar, but it's going to take more than just your oar, because I got a strong oar too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to need somebody right there that they respect when it comes to the police department.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I know that because they also had sharpshooter at the top of the guarding their own. So I know that as soon as we left, they attacked the crowd.
Wow. 508.
So
508-924-35. Go ahead, Goddess. I'll finish up, sis.
I just think that courage is something that you interact in your spirit at that moment in time, depending on what it is. It's not something that, it's instilled inside you, period.
Absolutely.
People can say what they're going to do, but if they ain't never get out here and did it, or in a small factor, I can't see them going out and doing it in a big factor.
Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Curtis, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
You see, the acts of courage we see on a daily basis, man. The way that we describe courage can sometimes be skewed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's okay. God has kind of just laid it out for you. You know what I mean? But the act of doing something right when everybody else is not willing to do, it's a powerful situation, man. You know what I mean? And it happens. It took, on a positive note, right? I don't know how many people remember it in 1996 when when the Cobalt Towers was bombed. I was stationed there, and I remember both myself and my wife was actually stationed there, but my wife that was her permanent duty, and I just so happened to be there. And a week before that, I literally had to go into the leadership, and it took a lot of courage, but I had to go into the leadership and basically tell them, if y'all don't send my wife home, because she's not supposed to be here anyway, if y'all don't send my wife home, it's going to be some problems. And if that means I got to go to Fort Leavenworth, then that's what that means. I got to go to Fort Leavenworth. See, what you ain't going to do is put me and my family in an extremely compromised situation. Now, I done let this go on and didn't say nothing, trying to be the good soldier. But now I'm going to be what my UCMJ tell me I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to call out on it. So I had to call them out. Needless to say, they put her on a plane, sent her home immediately, because she wasn't supposed to be there. You know, Raheem, man, that was a Wednesday night. That Thursday evening at about 6:45, they blew a 35-foot crater in the ground, man. They almost blew up the whole base. The whole Lucky base was Lucky base looked like Cabrini Green.
Good Lord.
Right? Just looked like a classic version of Cabrini Green.
Mm-hmm.
They blew a 35-foot crater in the ground, man. Now, 6:45 p.m. was the normal time that my ex-wife would either go on a 2-mile walk or 2-mile run.
Mm.
And when I calculated her daily activity and the time for which she did things,
Should have been right there.
Right there in the middle of that 35-foot crater that was in the ground. And it took everything in me to go and stand in it. I stood in it and just took it all in. Like, a lot of good soldiers died that day, man.
Wow.
You know, at the body count that
30 seconds, Curtis.
Didn't have a body count that the Twin Towers had. But 35 people died, man. And had the Army not been stationed there, it would have 9 times out of 10 been a hell of a lot more. Because we was the combat lifesavers, and what that does is that basically puts you in a position where you can triage right there on the spot, right?
Absolutely.
Man, I did it, man. I will never forget that. I will never forget that day, and it just made me feel good about the courage that I had displayed in front of my leadership. That made them put her on that plane.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. The phone lines are open. Give us a call. We love to have your input. Talking about courage today. What is courage? What is the lack of courage? What are some of the situations that you can think of where people were very courageous and other ones not so much? Give us a call, 508-924-3521. Badger, what's on your heart?
I was just thinking about the whole scenario and possibilities. You know, everything from a riot possibly happening, what happened afterwards, and what it ended up pushing forward, and the changes that came from it. You know, so sometimes in when evil things like that happen, you know, it's sometimes the thought of, was it supposed to happen to promote change? There's a lot of different ways to look at it, and you know, even right now, I'm actually fearful to say what's on my mind. So it's one of those things of perception, and I can't judge all the people that were there. Don't know what was going through their mind. We know people were trying to voice to stop things. So there's a lot going on in the whole scenario, or any scenario that happens in. I know what I've done in the past to stop things. So, and just basing it off of that, you know, there's, you know, talking about courage, you know, if there's possible that if you would have done something to try to stop it and it incited a riot and those police would have got hurt instead of you, how bad could that situation have really gotten?
I mean, there's a lot of scenarios. There's a lot of scenarios that we could play out, but like we said earlier, all the scenarios that we play out after the fact, we've been Monday morning quarterbacks. The game is already over. The game is played Sunday, and so it's all hypothetical. Let me see. Captain, what's on your heart?
Well, I just listened to Badger said. Badger just said, I'm fearful of saying what's on my mind. Hey, we just talked about courage. And he said, I'm fearful.
Yes.
To express what's on my mind, which in return is I'm scared.
Yeah.
In return, and regardless of the outcome, but you have to be courageous even to be on Raheem's show. I see some courageous people on this show say things about themselves that maybe I wouldn't expose about myself. And I look at every one of y'all Courageous. Man, that's some courageous stuff that Leonard said. Leonard said for him to say what he said, evidently he don't care about the outcome of that dumbass statement he just made. No, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Evidently
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. My point is, I'm sorry. I like a little humor. You know, I love my man.
Yes,
hey, man, listen, man. Dr. Leonard is probably one of the most brilliant men that I've met in this time, man. You know, and I've learned to have a great admiration for him. I've learned to have a great admiration for everybody, Curtis, all the women. But I do believe that we demonstrated something the other day, Raheem.
Yes, sir.
Is when you're able to be courageous enough to step out of your comfort zone of your own little reality and step into somebody else's reality and defend your reality, even though the outcome may be ostracized, the outcome you may be labeled, the outcome nobody may speak to you no more. See, that's courage too.
Yes.
And I think we demonstrate that every day on your show when we express, Raheem, certain things that I would never said. But you know what? Everybody else, they stepping out there on faith. Everybody else saying some crazy thing. Let me step out there too. And I think what we're doing, you really can't define a person who's 60 years old going to college to get a degree. That's courageous, man. That's courageous. The outcome they made, the outcome they may not, the outcome, man, you're too old. That's courageous. Courageous is for a man who don't have no job and he got a degree and he go works for McDonald's, flipping hamburgers. Dude. That's courageous.
Yes, sir.
See? To me, man, that's bold. So I think, Raheem, you know, the beautifulness of this, we all put ourselves in the shoes of what if. You know, you always say, what if? There's no question I'd have took one for the team. That ain't even a conversation. But everybody ain't like Captain D. Y'all don't know how many times I put my life on the line because I'm in the nation. How many times I had to stand up and look death square in the face. All right, death bring a lunch because, baby, there ain't going to be no walk in the park.
Exactly.
So I think everybody on here, I mean, I'm just saying this, everybody on your show to me is some very courageous people for us to be together these many months, these many years. And we know more about each other intimately. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Rico saving his brother. And that's true. Many people who don't know how to swim, they don't think about, I can't swim. Their attitude is, man, and how many cases that go south? How many we hear they drown? Should they did it? Man, that was crazy for him to jump in there. No, that was courageous. And sometimes the outcome may not be in your favor. And sometimes, and I want to say this to you, Badger, we have to be very careful that everything is God's will. So we can sit back and say, you know, it was God's will for me not to step in and save you, Floyd. It was God's will. You're supposed to die. That was God's will. We have to be very careful when we start saying, because you know the old story, all the Christians tell this story. A man was dying, he was drowning, and here come a daggone helicopter, and they put down a life, and the man said, no, that's okay. The Ghost Guard said, grab it, my friend. That's okay, God gonna save me. Here come a fast boat out of life. Grab it, my friend. Oh, that's okay. God's going to save me. And the man drowned. He's up there with St. Peter. And he said, St. Peter, how come God didn't save me? He said, he sent you a boat in the helicopter. We got to recognize when God sends the Savior. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely. Good deal. Willa, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
Amen, Cap. I was thinking about when I was young, and I could have been no more than maybe 9 or 10 years old. And my uncle had got into a fight out there in the street on Sacramento, if anybody know anything about Chicago. And we had family over, and they, I mean, a lot of them, the men had went out there, they were fighting, they had sticks, and oh, I was so scared. I was scared. But my grandmother, of course, her son is out there. So now she's getting ready to go out there and help. I went downstairs. We were living on the second floor. I went downstairs, so if you can imagine, 2 doors from a 2-flat. I went down there and I took my arms. I hooked one on one end and I hooked one on the other end. And when my grandmother tried to get through me, I closed my eyes. I can remember this just as good. I closed my eyes and I held with all my strength my grandmama back from not going out there. It took everything inside of me. I remember that. It was a frightening situation, but somehow I got strength from nowhere. And I helped my grandmama back. I wish today she had recorded that story. Because they used to call me Wee Wee, so you can imagine how small I was. And she could not get through me. So it took my fear of what was going out there to make me courageous on helping my grandmama to keep her back from going out there, getting involved in that fight. I'll never forget that right here.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. So I just wanted to share that experience that I had as a young child.
Courageous. And that's what it is, courageous. Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm appreciating all of the stories and the perspectives. And I mean, we can say what's courageous and what is not courageous, but unless you're in, and several people have said this, unless you're in that shoe at that very moment, I declare, we can say what we'll do all day long. You have no idea how you might react if someone has a gun at your head and they're telling you, boom, 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 do this and do that, and you say, well, yeah, they wouldn't do that to me. You know, you don't know. You don't know how you react. I do this and that. No, that gun is at your head with its cock, and this person is ready to blow you away unless you do blase blase, and then you talking about what you gonna do. Oh, I ain't gonna. That's crazy. That's not courageous. That's stupid.
Cassandra, let me pause you. I'm gonna pause your time just for a second because I want to say this came into my mind when you said that. Set It Off, the movie Set It Off, where when they came in and robbed the thing, and the guy asked, the security guy asked, what is the procedure when there's a gun to your head? And then go to the end of the movie, and then when it's at the end, she put the gun to his head. And she said, what is the procedure when there's a gun at your head? And it's amazing how both of them played in a different way. But both of them pretty much froze because now it's real. Now it's real. Now the gun is at your head. Now it's real. You can ask that question. You can ask her that question, but the gun is not at your head. But go ahead, because I just want to throw that in.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. So we can say what we would do in the heat of the day. You know what I think is crazy? I saw on a video the other day of a woman whose car was being carjacked, and this guy got a gun, and she is fighting with him over a car. Over a car. You're fighting this guy with a gun over a car. That's stupid. That's not courageous.
Wow. And there's a whole lot of different layers in regards to this whole courageous thing, man. And what is courageous? And that's why I started the question off that. What is courage? What is courage, Rico?
Pretty much what everybody's saying. I mean, it's levels to it. You know, now like it's one thing to do it for yourself or for a family member, you know, but when you speak of courage, you speak on the point of if you had an opportunity to do something. And see, it's a good possibility that when somebody got a gun to your head, you ain't got an opportunity to do anything. So if somebody start talking about something, well, I should have, then put the gun to their head and say, okay, show me how to do it. Exactly. Sometimes you don't have an opportunity, but see, just walking down that street and being a witness to something going on that you don't have nothing to do with, then you have a thing inside of you that says, you know what, am I going to say, man, I better mind the business that pays me, stay in my lane, You know, those are very popular cliches that you hear people say now. Or you're gonna say, you know what? If that was me, I wouldn't want nobody to just walk past. Imagine a woman being accosted by 2 or 3 guys, and then you see them just drag her around the corner, yank her panties down, and do their thing with her. That ain't my business. But then imagine if that's your daughter. You would have wanted somebody to stop and say something. You ever hear people say that? No snitching, no snitching. Then the first thing they say is, somebody saw something.
Somebody seen something. Yeah.
I had a conversation with one of my partners one day, man. He's something like a partner. I'm gonna say an associate. And he one of these people, you know, in the hood, you have a lot of people that believe in this street rules type of thing. And I saw a woman's son get ran over. And he was because he was beefing with some more little boys. They went to shooting and then they ran him over, you know what I'm saying? And I just happened to walk up on it. I'm a witness to it. She started crying, somebody help, somebody help. They ran my son over. So I went down there, seeing if everything was all right, made sure the scene was good. And then when I got to where I was going, I was telling my cousin and my associate about it. Let me guess. You went over there and stuck your nose in it. I should have known you went over there to see what was going on. Man, sometimes you got to leave stuff alone. I said, yeah. I said, well, what if that would have been your son? But. Yeah. That all changed around. What if that would have been your son that was in need of that help? Somebody just ran him over. And he just ran and got on somebody's porch. He don't know who it is, but he needs somebody to help him because he think these boys finna kill him. What if that was your boy, man? Yeah, you right. See, everybody ain't got it. If you listen to people talk sometimes, you can really tell where their character is and how they really feel about life, whether they care about anybody else's life besides their own. See, when you don't care about nobody's life but yours, it's easy for you to always come back and try to say, well, you ain't no coward. You a coward. It's so easy to judge and defend why somebody would not step up and they could. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, during the George Floyd instance situation, yeah, those people were in a situation where they would have been defying authority. But authority was in the wrong then.
Yes, sir.
And somewhere I feel like, man, I don't want to call everybody out there coward, but somebody out there wasn't like me. But I know now in this experience and that I like this life that I live in, I ain't special, but everybody ain't got it. Everybody just ain't got it.
You right about that, man. And to say that they're cowards and stuff like that, you know, that's one level of it. But I would even pull that part back and say maybe they were not cowards. I'll even pull that part back.
You know what I realized?
What's that?
There's a lot of compassion rooted in courage.
Oh, absolutely. And so I will, and that's the point. But I will say that, like Rico just said, man, they couldn't have been me. I would have had to do something. And people say, you know, hypothetical, maybe so. But I've been living with me all my life. And I know how I react to certain situations. And so, you know, the situation could be hypothetical, but I've been living with me all my life. I know what I'm gonna do. I know me. If I don't know nobody else, I've been knowing me all my life. Since day one, I guarantee you I was there. Captain, what's on your heart? Captain may have had to step away for a second. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
I think, you know, as more people have different opinions of courage. There are some people that believe that they're being courageous doing the wrong thing. Like I said, the thing about courage is fear. If you're doing things in the face of fear, pain, or grief, that's courage. That's what courage is. I mean, by definition, or what have you. You can apply it to any situation. Like I said, a lot of people will say, man, it's funny to me sometimes. It took a lot of courage. No, it didn't. That's what I usually do. I don't consider myself courageous. All I know is I don't take no crap. Is that courageous? Some people think I'm completely crazy because some of the things I would do. It doesn't make me courageous, does it?
And let me ask you something. What's the difference between courageous and crazy?
I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I'm listening today.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is one of those issues where I don't usually talk about it a lot. You know, I like preparation. I used to always like what my drill sergeant used to say. And when they're teaching you and preparing you for war, one thing that is important is that you follow these instructions that I'm giving you, because they could very well save your life. This ain't the time for you to be no effing hero. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was saying. You know, don't be no freaking hero. Be smart. Be smart. You know, so one, it really depends on what the issue is. Sometimes courageous is sticking there with a certain plan of action, even though it's gotten very cloudy. Keep pushing. You'll get there. Somebody telling you you can't do this or you can't do that. Try it anyway. So courage is all over the place.
Absolutely.
But one we have to be very careful. Even when we've used that term before, coward. I don't usually call people cowards.
But there are some cowards out there.
I don't know them well enough.
Well, there's some cowards out there now. There's some cowards out there.
There's a lot of different people out there scared of different things. But in certain situations, they may seem to be a hero to you. But it may be that one thing that they fear. And when you see them fight that's courage.
Now, somebody afraid of a chocolate, a Hershey's chocolate bar, something wrong with them.
Something might be wrong with them, but hey, everybody got their issues out here. You know what I'm saying?
Something ain't right with that down there. Something ain't right with them. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. Something ain't right with that down there. You go out here and you afraid of a Hershey's chocolate bar.
Why they be making that voice? Why do they be using that voice that you using, right?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Stop it.
Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Just a different perspective. That's all.
Okay, cool beans. Cassandra, you there? Cassandra, wake up and go to sleep. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
How far y'all went with this conversation?
Man, look here. We rounded the corner right now. We rounded the corner.
I had to look up the word effing.
Oh Lord.
You know what effing is. You from Thibodeau.
Exactly.
EFF.
No. Oh. Oh God.
He was Puerto Rican. He had a heavy accent.
And I was squirming because I ordered a meal and it had broccoli on it. And I was like, oh. And the woman said, I ain't never seen a grown man scared of broccoli.
Something ain't right with that Tucson. Something ain't right.
Going into convulsions because they put broccoli on my plate. My family looked and said, oh no.
They got something ain't right with that Tucson.
Ma'am, they was like, ma'am, you don't like broccoli.
You got a fear of broccoli.
Exactly. Broccoli phobia.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I just have a hard time. Snakes and broccoli. So we found out today that snakes and broccoli is my issue.
What about a snake eating broccoli?
Oh my goodness.
That'd be a big problem. That'd be a big problem for me. I don't know about nobody else. It might save my life. Because you biting on the broccoli, biting on me. So I'm good.
Dreaded fear of broccoli.
What two flies with one stone. But
somebody just said they're afraid of mayonnaise.
I don't know, man. But Raheem, I want to say something though. You I heard the conversation about George Floyd. I know we don't like to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at people based on what they do. And we say, oh, you're either a coward or you're brave.
Mm-hmm.
And I still say bravery, don't think. It's just after what happens, they call it bravery.
Mm-hmm. After the fact. Yeah. Yeah.
After the fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought about, I think it was Gideon. I think it was, and maybe it wasn't. But anyway, he had too many soldiers to fight the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too many of them. You know
Mhm.
why the first of them had to be sent home? Because they were scared.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say they wasn't warriors. They was in the army, evidently. But they didn't have that little thing that was needed. And then some of them don't pay attention to nothing. They just concentrate on what they're doing right then. Didn't say they wasn't soldiers either. They was in the army. Had to send them home too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how sometimes, and Captain said, I think it was Captain said something about not worrying about the outcome. So here he goes out there with 300 people, brave soldiers that's watchful. Is that something?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it ain't good to have a crowd.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere I
Because a
read.
scared person. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say somewhere I read where it says some soldiers was turned back because they didn't drink of the water properly.
Well, yeah, you know, sometimes we pay attention to only what we are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not aware of our surroundings. And that's a dangerous person. That's just as bad as a scared person. But they went home, all of them was home, waiting for the battle to be won. I don't want nobody that's not paying attention. Really, I'm just saying. And the scared person, again, I didn't say it before, I'll say it again, they get you killed. Or he'll kill you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's good. Let me see. Willa, what's on your heart, sis?
Hey, Raheem, I was thinking about somebody said something earlier about how people characters are about not getting involved. And I remember one Thanksgiving, and my neighbor, you know, he was an abusive man to his wife. And so one Thanksgiving, I mean, they was really going at it. He used to really like beat her. And my husband said, you know, I am just so tired of this. He said, you know, I'm going over and I'm going to say something to blank. So he did. He went over there and he had a conversation with them. And from that day forward, he did not lay his hands back on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So that took courage for me because what could have happened was that man could have said, you know what, get out of here, get out, mind your own business. He could have done a lot of things and reacted a certain way, but he didn't. And I thank God for that. But he actually stopped beating on her. That was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that took courage for my husband to do that, go to a man's house and, you know, kind of be the mediator between him and the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was on my heart. I wanted to share with everybody.
Exactly. Captain, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, what's on your heart, sir?
Well, you know, as you know, we keep saying the same thing. There's no further we could take this conversation. I think we covered every aspect of it. I'm just right now, my attitude is it helps every one of us to reflect on what may be a courageous moment tomorrow. This conversation gives every one of us an opportunity to reevaluate our commitment to life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it does for me. This is what this conversation did for me, because we never know. And I like what you said. See, bravery has no brains.
Mm-hmm.
Bravery has no brains. It acts at a moment's notice. You can't know when you're gonna be brave. And I like they say, you really, if you put a, we all talk that mucho grasso, even Captain D talk a good game. But in reality, I don't know if they tell me they got me on the Empire State Building. Now, hey, now you don't denounce Farrakhan, we're gonna throw you off this building. I may tell you, well, hey, I just gotta have some wings there.
Mm-hmm.
Or I may say, but can't we talk about this a few more minutes now? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what we would do.
Yeah, exactly.
We hope, now listen now, we really hope that we will meet the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And God gonna give you opportunity to make you see if you're a coward or not. Because every one of us need to know who we are and what we are. And only God can test us.
Mm-hmm.
Because He the one. Death, some people are afraid to die.
Mm-hmm.
But I see older people embrace death.
Yeah.
But you always fear the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be challenged. I think what it did for me today, it always is just make me prepare myself with the question, what if?
Exactly.
I hope to believe. I really, 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 really do hope to believe that Brother Dennis is all that and a bag of chips. Not to you, but to myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And let me say this to my great friend. I don't know if you mentioned this, but I want to say this to Dr. Leonard, to Curtis, to Badger, and to yourself. We was honored to be on Paul's show the other day, and y'all made me so proud.
Yes, sir.
To be up on, to have y'all as team members coming from this great station that we see Raheem as our coach. If we had a debating team, I would want y'all be a part. I would hope that I'll be a part of the debating team.
Yes, sir.
With a couple of them sisters like Willa and T and the rest of them. But we did a great job. And thank you, Badger, for making that opportunity for us to be able to be on that program with Paul. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, what is going on, sir, at 3:00 today?
Raheem.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Before I'm Rico, can I please say something really quickly?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to thank all the members of DKM that donated to me getting for the food for the family that my baby died, my set baby died last week. And I bought a lot of food for them. And what was left, Wednesday, I'm doing the repast for the family here in my building.
Wow.
So what was left, I'm going to use that to do the repast, to help with the repast on Wednesday. So I just want to thank everyone for giving. She wept like a baby. She was so appreciative, the mother. But thank you guys. I appreciate you greatly. And I ask God to bless you all 100-fold, 1,000-fold for what you did.
Praise God. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. Rico, and Cassandra, first, let me say this, not a part of it all. I'm sure each and every one, I speak for everybody that gave. We was honored to do so, to be able to help in the situation with family. And that's what family do. We stick together and we help out and we look out for each other. So to God be the glory. Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
I want to say in the heat of the moment, the true nature of a person always reveals itself.
Mm-hmm.
In the heat of the moment, the true nature of a person always reveals itself. And I think that's what happened last week when she asked, made that request.
Absolutely.
With that being said, if you missed today's broadcast and would like to see or hear the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
It was a good conversation today, man. I definitely appreciated everybody's input in the conversation. Did y'all enjoy it? Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Now I Rico. What Willa?
She came in early today. I didn't have to text you and ask about it. She came on in early.
Willa.
Hey, Raheem, come on, Raheem.
Now, Willa, are you
Let's
ready?
go.
Are you ready, Willa?
Raheem,
Yes.
I am ready. Come on, Raheem.
But you know what, Willa, let's go.
Let's go. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you so much, Lord. Father, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you, Lord, for waking us up this morning. Thank you, Lord, for constantly showing love, oh Lord. Father, we know that you do not give us the spirit of fear. And Father, we thank you for that, Lord. We thank you for your word that teaches us, Lord, each and every day. We thank you, Lord, for the understanding that you give us each and every day. We thank you for allowing the Holy Spirit to help us with the application of wisdom. We thank you, Lord, for that. Father, we are just so grateful for you. If we had 10,000 tongues, we couldn't thank you enough. Father, touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Father, whatever's going on with them, Lord, Father, you know. Help them through it, oh Lord. Father, not only help them, but carry them through. Father, we know that you're going to get the victory. We honor you, we glorify you, and we praise you this morning. In Christ Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah, and glory to God.
On that note, we can get out of here. We ain't got to say nothing else. Good night. Have a good day. Take care. But on the serious note, it is, what is it, 10:05. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK, your media group and associates, and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is 10:05. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. Get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day, and please, please, please be blessed. Love you. See you tomorrow. God say the same. Take care of each other.